Good evening, everyone. Please confirm you can hear me. You can send in
Good evening,
an
ma'am.
emoji.
Hear you.
All right, thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. How are we doing? And I hope we are having a lovely Sunday. I want to officially welcome every single one of you to the Master Bridge Career Accelerator 2.0. And if you're excited to be here, can I see your reactions? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, everyone. And thank you also for joining in early today. And first of all, I would like to congratulate every single one of us for getting into this program. And being on this call right now means you have put in the work and you have differentiated yourself from the number of applicants that we have. So, congratulations once again and welcome. So before we get started, I would like to, make some things clear to everyone. So I'll ensure that we are on the same page. I'm sure we received an email from the Accelerator website where we were informed that we are going to be having Please confirm you can still hear me. Okay, thank you very much. So before we get started, I would like to, make some things clear to also to ensure that we are on the same page. I know we received an email, a congratulatory email that we have gotten into the program, and there were some other information that was shared with that email. Well, I would like to say it again so we are clear on that. So at the end of this program, we'll be giving out certificates. But to be able to get that certificate, there are some requirements you will have to meet. And one of them is attendance. So you have to make sure that you fill in your attendance every single section that you attended to be sure that you really attended the section. And also there will be an assessment, but this time around the assessment is going to be bi-weekly. So this assessment will be coming in week 2 and week 4. So you make sure that you submit them before the deadline, because failure to do so will affect your eligibility to receive the certificate. So aside from that, your attendance, your assessment, and if you're able to complete these two, trust me, you'll be able to get the certification at the end of the program. So before we get into the section, I would like for either probably 2 to 3 people just unmute themselves to introduce themselves, and you can just tell us your name, the school you're joining from, and just one thing you're looking forward to in the section. So you can just raise your hand or mute your mic, tell us your name, your school, what you're looking forward to in this program or in this section. Anyone? Should I call names? Okay, I think I'll call Olamide Oyewale. Can you introduce yourself, Olamide? Olamide, are you here with us?
Yes, I am here. Good evening, everybody. My name is Oiwale Mutiatolamde from Federal University of Ekiti. I am looking forward to connect with like-minded individuals. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Olamide. That was a wonderful introduction. All right, then let me call on Victoria. Are you here on the call with us? Can you introduce yourself? Victoria. Sure, you can drop your message on the group chat. That's fine. How about Somto Chuku? Are you here with us? Can unmute your mic and introduce yourself. Mm, okay. I guess Somto is not here. How about God's favor? God's favor, yes. Orubu, God's favor. You guys, don't be shy. Oh. This program is
Hey, good
basically
evening.
about. All right,
Good
all right, okay,
evening.
sure. Go ahead.
Good evening, moderator. Good evening, everyone. My name is Orubu Norode Gosivo, and I'm a 200 level accounting student at the University of Benin. And I'm actually looking forward to learning how to position myself properly on LinkedIn precisely, and to also stand out as a person and as a brand. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you very much, Favor. That was very nice. Okay, one last person before we dive into the section. How about Tanvia Ali? Tanvia Ali, you can go ahead and unmute your mic and introduce yourself. Are you here with us, Tanvia? S- yes, I can hear you, but you're a bit low. If you can just be more audible.
Now,
I'm sorry, Ali, if you're trying to speak, I can't hear you. Oh, I guess Ali is having network issues. So without wasting any more time, okay, before we even diving into the section, I would like to give like a personal advice, and this is really coming from me. So every single one of us here on the call, now we are in the call, now we have gotten into the program. But to be able to get like the best out of this program, I would like for us to engage, like participate, drop in your question. No question is considered foolish. So just drop in your question, engage, participate, be in the program so you can make the most of this experience. So once again, welcome officially to the Master Bridge Career Accelerator, and we are excited to have you here. So in this section, we'll be focusing on the theme, how to stand out without experience. And to guide us through this section, we have two amazing speakers who will be doing justice to this topic. And we have with us Oluwadamilola Alabi, and we also have Michael Ogumola. And honestly, guys, you are not ready. You're not ready for who we have on board with us today. So before I officially introduce our speakers, I would like for us to come into like a little agreement. So seeing that these speakers have take time out of their busy day to come here to speak to us, the least we can do for them is to give as many reactions as possible to show that we appreciate their presence and the time that they have dedicated to be here. So are we agreeing on that? Are we agreeing? All right then. So let's get started. We have Oluwa Damilola Halabi. Oluwadamilola Alabi is a graduating accounting student at Redeemers University and a qualified chartered accountant with the Institute of Chartered Accountants Nigeria. She has gained practical industry experience through her internship at Anderson, Nigeria, further strengthening her expertise in accounting and professional services. Driven by a passion for excellence and student development, she co-founded Career Lift, a platform dedicated to helping students gain career clarity and developing the skills, insight, and direction needed to thrive in their choosing career path. She also founded Don't Just Read Art, a student-focused community where she teaches practical strategies, systems, and mindsets that enable students to achieve academic excellence beyond putting in effort. Beyond academics and career development, Damilola is an entrepreneur and the founder of Mo Haruhai, a fashion brand that reflects her creativity and growing interest in business, strategy, and innovation. She's passionate about faith, excellence, and service, and remains committed to creating meaningful impact in every space that she occupies. So on to our next speaker, we have Michael Ogumola. Michael Ogumola is an honors student at Bethune Cookman University, pursuing a dual degree in accounting and finance with a minor in business administration. Originally from Nigeria, he attended OBMS for high school and later the OBMS A-level college, where he earned all A's and was retained as a teaching assistant after graduation. He later received a scholarship to attend Bethune Cookman University, where he maintained a 4.0 GPA while serving as president of both the African Students Association. Please, guys, let the reaction keep coming in because I'm not even done yet, and I've said a lot. So please keep your reactions coming in. So continuing, and the National Association of Black Accountants, the BCU chapter, a proud third generation accountant, Michael currently completes his second internship with Brown and Brown and will join McKinsey and Company as an incoming summer business analyst intern in Atlanta. Passionate about leadership, financial literacy, and creating opportunity for others, Michael is committed to using business as a tool to create meaningful impact both within his community and around the world. So please join me in welcoming Oluwa Damilola Alabi and Michael Ogumola. All right, guys. So you have the floor, Damilola.
All right. So good evening, everyone. Please, can we confirm you can hear me?
Oh, yes, we can hear you.
All right. Thank you so much, Oluwakemi Sola. Thank you so much for the beautiful introduction. So good evening, everyone. I'm very excited to be here. Thank you for having me. First and foremost, I must apologize. I had a very busy week and could not come up with a presentation slide. So I want to ask you guys to kindly please follow me closely. Please follow me closely. This is a conversation I'm really excited about, honestly, because I'm a student. I'm graduating, so I can relate. I'm so much in this space, and I really understand a lot of student concern when it comes to gathering experience and all these things in the labor market. So I want to urge us to make this a very, very interactive. I'm not old, I'm a very small girl. I'm a very small girl. So I want it to be very interactive. And I honestly don't like when I just keep talking. I can't see most of our faces. So at least let me hear our voices. Do we all agree on that? Can I get reactions? Do we agree that I'm going to be hearing as much voices as possible on this call? Thank you so much. So let's gist, like I would like to say. So how many of you have seen an opportunity that you are really excited about? Like you see this job role and you're like, oh, I would really love this. Let me, put in my entry for this particular role. And all of a sudden you're seeing 3 years, 5 years experience. Can I just get reactions? Like we've been there now. We see these things every day. Like we see it. The companies that would like to, get into 3 years, 5 years. You guys should relax and things like that. And sometimes you're like, what's actually going on? Especially when you see entry level roles that require so much experience. It brings questions. It brings so much questions. But it usually brings me to ask just one question. Why exactly are these recruiters asking for experience? Like, I'm just graduating. So why are you asking me for experience? Like, why are you doing this to me? This is the question I'm throwing to everybody. Why do you think recruiters ask for experience? Victoria said she can't hear me. Is this a Victoria thing or am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay. Hi, Victoria. Please, like your network. So yes, I was asking. I would call names if nobody wants to talk to me because we all promised we're going to be talking to me during the session. Why do you think recruiters ask for experience? Anybody wants to talk to us? Okay, I think Kemi wants to talk to us.
Can I
Kemi,
can
let's
I
hear
go
you.
on, ma'am?
Yeah, you can. You can go on. Hello.
I think the reason why most recruiters ask for experience is because of they want somebody who is what enough like that is well experienced at delivering clients.
Okay, I didn't really hear you, Ibrahim. Would you like repeating yourself? Oh my God, I still can't hear you. Kemi, I think your hands are raised. Do you have something to say?
Oh, yes, thank you very much, Damilola. And I think the reason why recruiters ask for this 2 years or 3 years experience is that because they just want to be sure that you can actually do the job that they. Hey,
Thank you
sorry, can you
so
hear me?
much. Yes, I think I got what you were trying to say. Thank you so
All
much.
right.
Thank you. Please let's clap for Kemi. At least she decided to speak to me today. So let's clap for Kemi. Thank you, Kemi. Thank you, David. Thank you so much. So yes, From what Kemi said, they want to be sure that you can actually do the job. That you can actually do the job. You know, there's this slang we say in Nigeria. Um, this is, I don't know if how serious we are here, but there's this slang. You know, they'll say something like no be cho cho cho. Please pardon my language. I just want us to be very relatable here. Something like oh my god, this is where my Gen Z part feels me. No be cho cho cho, show workings. Oh, can we relate? Thank you. Actually, someone can relate to what I'm trying to
Yes, ma. Yes, ma.
refer to.
Yes, ma.
No,
Yes,
show,
ma.
show,
Yes, ma.
show working, show evidence. Show evidence, exactly. So now, let's look at it from the recruiter's end. I don't want to build something. I don't want to be building a startup, building anything. It's not easy to build a business. I don't want to build something and just hand a key role or a very vital part of my business to somebody that would then come and mess things up for me. Because apart from the cost I would have to bear that you for you messing things up, there are other costs that are involved. So from the recruiter's end, they want to be sure that this person can do exactly what they say they can, and they're not coming to use my work, they're not coming to use my business, they're not coming to use my project as a test run in quotes. But one thing I'm grateful for is that we're approaching this conversation from more of from the entry level roles. I think most of us are students and we are all looking towards entry level roles at least to gather experience, which make it more interesting. Now, if I ask how many of us are good people, everybody is going to raise up their hands and say, okay, I'm a good person, including the person that snitched on a friend last month. Am I right? But if I say how many of us can actually prove they are good people, a good person, this is actually a generic term, but I'm actually trying to, paint a picture. If I say how many of us can actually prove we are good people, a lot of people will start thinking, okay, prove that I'm a good person. How do I do that? Blah, 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 and things like that. So what I'm trying to drive at is when you see recruiters ask for experience, they're asking for one thing: evidence. They're asking for proof of your competence. So I want you to decluster the experience. I have to, I've worked somewhere. I have to have, and just remove all those dramatic things that play in your head when you hear experience and think of it as having evidence, a proof of work, a proof that you are what you say you are, a proof that you can do what you say you can do, or even a proof that you have so much potential that if this company actually pours into you, you are sure you can deliver effectively to them. Are we together? Are we together, guys? All right, thank you. So, yes, evidence is what we are here to show now. Let's just remove experience and replace it with evidence. That is what we are after. So now, let's quickly look at what are the things you think recruiters are looking for, especially when it comes to entry level roles, internship, and things like that. To me, I think the very important thing I know that they're always looking for is your willingness to learn. Most entry roles, they don't expect you, most internship, undergrad analyst, they don't expect you to have, to be perfect. They don't expect you to have everything figured out. They don't expect you to understand. They know that you have little to no experience in these things. So one of the major things they're looking for is this person willing to learn? Is this person teachable? And how will you know someone that is willing to learn? The most important, the how would I say this? I'm looking for the word, but the major thing is curiosity. How curious is this person towards the line of duty or the line of field or the career path they have chosen or they are applying for? So it's very important that you must be see, I don't even know how to put these words together, but your willingness to learn, it must be very glaring that you are someone who is willing to learn. You must continually stay curious, stay updated, know what's going on in your field, understand that you are going into that role to learn. You probably don't even know anything, or you even think you know something, but trust me, there is an amount of knowledge that comes from doing, when you're actually doing these things, when you're practicalizing these things. So you must be willing to learn and you must stay teachable. You must stay teachable. I can remember that when I was doing my internship at Anderson,
it was a very funny experience because I was qualified before going for that internship, and I had seniors that were not qualified yet, by the way, and they would show things like, "Oh, you are ICANN qualified." I'm like, let's not do this here. No, no, let's not deceive ourselves here. I do you get what I'm trying to say? So being able to stay teachable is much more part of the whole thing. Understanding that there is more to learn and you must be willing to learn. That is what any entry role you're going into now. Your job there is to learn. So that is one. Then another thing that a recruiter will be looking for, especially for entry level role, would be your dedication to a course. How much have you been able to give the things you actually do? And that's where this whole first class or second class upper requirements comes from. They want to know, okay, the things you put your hands into, the things you're actually doing currently, how well have you been able to do them? How dedicated are you to these things? Do you run an NGO? How well do you pour yourself into that NGO? You are currently in school. How well do you put in effort? How well are you dedicated to a particular course? Because trust me, what you're trying to look for is, if this person can do this thing so well, that means if given a chance at our company, they can bring in the same amount of dedication to the work they do here. So it is always very important that whatever it is you are doing, whatever it is you are maybe non-profitable organization, volunteering, anything it is you're doing, how well are you doing it? How well are you doing it? That's a very important thing that recruiters look for. Then another thing is they want to know how much, because let me tell you something. If a company is going to bring you on board, if a company is going to bring you on board and train you, what they are thinking of is how they are developing their human resources. They're not thinking about, we want to, let's be very, very factual. They most times they're not really thinking about, okay, we want to help you, we want to train you. They're thinking about how much returns they can get from their investing in terms of their human resources. Like, if we actually put in this dedication to train people, the quality of staffs we get, the quality of people we get, and they know that in the long run, this is like a return on their investment. So they want to know, does this person have the potential? Does this person actually have what it takes, that we know that, okay, if we invest in this person, we would not be wasting our time, neither would we be wasting resources. I want you to ask yourself, if somebody should invest in me now, if somebody invests knowledge, if somebody invests money, because I mean, some trainings do cost a lot to these companies, would they actually get a return on investment? That is the things I believe recruiters are looking for currently. So now that we've already established the fact that whenever you hear experience, what should come to your mind is evidence, a proof of work. What can you do and how have you done it? And once you change your mentality about this whole experience into evidence, you would see that a lot of us actually have experiences. We do not just know that they are actually experiences because maybe we were probably not paid for it, or it was something we just did randomly or we did out of the blues. But trust me, anything that can put a stamp to the fact that you can do a certain thing is an experience. Now, I'll give you an example. I remember that I have my dad ran a farm. Sorry, he still runs it here. So he has a farm, and I worked with his farm for a while. Now, he wasn't really paying me. He wasn't really doing a lot of things. But when he told me he needed me to manage the accounts of the farm, because they were theft rather, and things like that. So my job was simple: manage the accounts of the farm, manage payments, manage disbursements, and things like that. That was my job. Mind you, it was not an official statement. They did not, it didn't, I mean, it's my dad, so there was no official anything. But then to me, I was just okay running the finances of the farm. Nothing serious. It's just okay. Make sure that the eggs, the product were being completed. There was no theft, the money flow, and things like that. And till date, that is one of the major things that I highlighted on my CV. The funny thing about this whole thing is, it was one of the things that sparked a conversation during my interview with Anderson. I was literally asked, oh, you said did this, and I was literally able to defend the fact that, okay, it was not big, it was not a complex accounting system, it was not something dramatic, it was as little as having an Excel sheet and monitoring expenses, in fact basic bookkeeping. But trust me, that was one of the things I used to actually impress my interviewers during my interview with Anderson. So it doesn't necessarily have to be anything big. You are saying that, okay, you are good with double entry. How can you prove that you are good with double entry? You did this competition. That is an experience. You did this case study. You did this challenge. That is an experience. You are saying, oh, critical thinking, problem solving. Which problem have you solved? What problem did you contribute to solving? Those are evidence, those are proof of work, and these are the little things that you need to learn how to bring together to create what we call an experience. Then, how exactly do you get evidence? How do you prove that you can do this thing? The first thing I would say is volunteer. Be willing to volunteer. I don't, in fact, I always feel like there is literally nothing to lose. Okay, maybe I'm talking from my school point of view, but I mean, in almost every school, there's always an association, an NGO, an event. There's something going on in almost every, I don't know, like around you. Look at what is going on and ask yourself, how can I contribute to this thing? How can my skills come on board into this thing? What exactly can I do to make this thing impactful? So learn, be willing to volunteer, and trust me, you would not always get paid. I think one of the things with Gen Zs lately is the fact that once we hear that there is no money involved, we're always very discouraged. But I want you to know that payment does not necessarily have to be in money. Payment can be in access, the quality of people you have access to as a reason of being in this room. That is payment. Payment can be in knowledge. What did you learn? What's the new thing you learned in your course of volunteering in this role? That is payment. I've had situations where, I volunteer for a role just by observing how the main head or the main coordinators were handling things. I got ideas that I pitched into another room that actually got me opportunities. Do we understand what I'm saying? I I I didn't even, I just thought, oh, so you can do this. I'm trying to pick one example, but my head is full right now. But just by noticing that, oh, this is one way we could do things. I wasn't even the one that did it. But then I got into another room and a situation came up where they needed a solution. And I'm like, oh, it was an event. In this event, this was how we were able to run this. This was how I saw them do things. And just by placing that into, the whole event thing, that, okay, yes, I think we could do this. I've seen it somewhere before. It worked, just by expanding your experience, your knowledge. And that simply got me an opportunity. I think I was to head a particular section of the other events just by bringing an idea that I didn't even execute myself. I just learned from what I observed. So these are the things that volunteering roles help you do, which is very important to volunteer. Two, try to solve a problem. Try to solve a problem. You might not, they might, how would I say this? Fine, we said volunteer, but there are times that you might not even actually see where to volunteer right now. But there is a problem at ground. How can you solve that problem? How can you solve that problem? Let it be at the back of your mind. Always try to solve a problem. How can I help out? Do I need to mobilize people? Do I need to mobilize resources? Do I need to communicate? What exactly can I do to solve this specific problem? Let me give you another example. So let me just put it there. For someone like me now, I want to major in business strategy, corporate finance, or management consulting. And I remembered that during one of my during an interview session that I was having, I was asked a question. And the only thing that I could even that this was before Anderson, I didn't get the role anyway. But like the only thing I could come up with to answer that question was the fact that, okay, I I observed in a cafeteria. Oh, I don't want to give a lot of background story for. Yes, there's a cafeteria in my school. I observed that their working rate was low. I observed that they were not really getting a lot of customers, which was really due to their location and the fact that there were no a lot of publicity, yet they had good product. What did I do? I had to get in talk with the manager. I literally just walked in to get food. But then I'm like, oh, these people food tastes so good, yet they make so like they literally are always, how do I say this? They make low sales basically. And all I had to do was, oh, I wanted to speak to the manager. I spoke to the manager. I talked about the fact that they had good products, but I mean, the fact that this place is as empty as this is a problem. And I just recommended solution of how they can make all these bullet prints, flyer, post it at major locations like classrooms, just simply strategizing how they can actually increase their sales. And just by doing that, like it really sparked conversation, and I could tell that okay, these interviewers were actually impressed by this thing that I did. So try to solve a problem is always very important. Then another thing I want to mention is yes, if you don't, I would always say this: if there is no, if nobody needs your service, if nobody needs your service, create something that needs your service. Like this one works really good. If nobody needs your service, create something that needs your service. I don't know what you are good at. Nobody needs, maybe you don't let me use media for example. You are a media person, you don't, nobody is employing you, nobody is asking you to, then create something that needs your service. Start a series. It could be simple as filming things, storytelling, like do something that you would actually say, okay, even if I was the one that organized this thing, I was able to apply these specific skills into this thing. Do we understand where I'm coming from? Do you understand where I'm coming from? Okay, let me give an example again. For example, I run a business, I run a fashion business, and recently I got a role, even if I had to decline the role, I got a role, or it's also a consulting role actually. So backstory is one of the major things that I actually had to use to wow my interviewers was the fact that, oh, in terms of operation for my own business, how I've been able to oversee operations in my own business, especially with the restraining rules that happen to, I attended the private school, so there are quite a lot of restraining rules. So like the fact that I was able to speak on my business operation, mind you, I own the business, but at that point I knew that okay, I need to come from the operation perspective. How have I been able to handle operations in my business? How would that model be transferable to another business? And that was like what I literally said that made me qualified for the role. Mind you, I created the business, is my business. It is, I don't need to say, oh, Muroi is my business. All I need to be doing now is I'm acting as the operation manager in that business. So create something where your skills would be required for. If you don't even see anywhere, if at all you say you don't see anywhere to volunteer, you don't see any problem to solve, create something that would actively require you using your skills. And in creating something, it could be a project. You say you are a software developer and you've not developed anything, like literally nothing to show for it, because you are waiting till the time somebody is probably going to come and add you money to build something for them. Things don't work that way. Create things that require your skills, create things that require your service. Then another way you can actually gather experience is by joining things as simple as fellowship, mentorship programs. Those things are lifesavers. Like let me talk about mentorship programs. You see, one thing about mentorship programs is that it helps you learn, you gain experience from other people experience. And that's the beautiful thing. You have a mentor that is very much experienced in certain things. They pour knowledge into you, and then you yourself gain experience from these things. See, let me, oh my god, I think I'm saying a lot of stories, but I just want us to relate so much. So now I remember that I attended mentorship corner. I attended mentorship corner, I think cohort 6 by Iwe Labi, Idris and Richard. Do we I don't know if we've heard of it before. But then I remember that if there is one thing Iwe Labi was always very good at, was IFRS 15. accounting students. I don't know if we're all in accounting field, but it was IFRS 15. That's and I remember that every single time, Irelabi was so practical about how to use the 5-step model in IFRS 15. Like how to use 5-step model in IFRS 15. It was always very practical about it, even using examples and things like that, as well as double entry. Those two things were two major things that I know that, if you sleep and wake up, if I'm sleeping and you wake me up and you tell me to talk about double entry, you tell me to talk about IFRS 15, you will be integrated that thing so much in us that, I mean, I can speak about it. And during my Anderson internship, when I was literally asked to talk about an accounting standard and how to apply it in the industry, I didn't even need to think twice. I just knew that IFRS 15 is it. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm saying. I just knew that, okay, this is how much I've learned this particular standard from Irelabi. This is how much I've understood the application of this standard that I can literally defend it out there. So mentorship programs too are very, very much helpful in gathering experiences. So I think I've said a lot of things, but rounding up, I would say that remember that our topic for today is how to stand out without experience. And it brings me to ask, how exactly would you stand out if I don't see you? If you're not seen, then I don't think we should be talking about standing out. You have to be in the room. You have to be in people's faces, first of all, before we can now say, okay, who are we choosing? Who is standing out? Who exactly is exceptional here? And that brings me to visibility. See, if there's one thing that I'm always grateful for, I would always say it's coming out of my shell, understanding how important it is to come out of my shell and put myself in people's faces. Yes, putting yourself in people's faces. Now, as you're gathering experiences, I forgot to mention pursuing certifications too. My time is running up, so I need to round up fast. But then I need to we need to understand that visibility is key. People hand over opportunities to people that they know, whether you like it or not. People hand over opportunities to people that they know. I would see, I've had so many people come to me say, oh, how did you enter Anderson? How did you enter Anderson? I will say this. I did not enter Anderson through an application. I entered Anderson through recommendation. I got recommended by a manager, and this manager, I don't know him from anywhere in my life. I met him on LinkedIn. I met the manager on LinkedIn. We started having conversation. He viewed my LinkedIn profile and was like, oh, you did this, that's nice. I talked about the fact I would like to learn at Anderson, and he put in a recommendation for me. I'm trying to make us understand how important it is, visibility is. You don't know that specific thing you will put out there, that specific work you would put out there that would spark a conversation with your recruiter. You don't know. So in as much as you're trying to build experience, you are doing things, you're volunteering, you're working on a specific project, you're getting certifications, always put it out there. Document your journey, document your work. Let the world know what you are doing. There's something someone said that's always stuck in my head. um he said that whatever information that is not on the internet does not exist. That's in 21st century. So if you say you are chattered, if it's not on the internet, nobody knows. It's only you that knows. Sorry, it does not exist. We don't know about it. We don't know about it. What if I search up your name out now? What can I see? If I pick somebody's name and I search your name out up now, what can I see? What is your track record? What's your media print like? So in as much as you're trying to gather experience or doing little things to build yourself, always ensure you remain visible. Document as much as you can. Document the tiniest things, even the things that you think, they are not so valid. In as much as you are able to do something, you're able to apply one of the key skills that you know you have, document it, put it out there, let people see it, let people know it's really not going to take anything from you at all. So let me round up now. Yep. So in summary, if there's anything you're living with, I want you to know that let's decluster experience and start thinking of evidence. You say you have leadership skill, prove it. How can you prove it? What have you done to prove it? You said critical thinking. What have you done to prove it? Where have you applied that skill? Prove as much as you can. And that way, I believe you would have enough experience to enter any entry level role. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Damilola. That was really an insightful section. Everything that you said, I could really relate to every single one of them, from putting ourselves out there, and nothing that is on the internet is actually, anything that is not on the internet is actually not real. Thank you very much, Damilola. That was really insightful. So we can go ahead with you now, Michael. Thank you very much.
Okay, yeah. 1 second there. I was just trying to find where to unmute myself. So I'll turn on my camera so everyone can see me. So I do have a presentation, so I'll share my screen so we can go through it. And 1 second. Okay, there we go. Just let me know if you can see my screen. I'll just unmute and then.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I just put together like a little presentation, just like kind of guide the time, and so I just don't sway off talking. I really do take my time. So first, I would actually love to like give a little background about me and say a few things, and I'll probably say some things you've heard before, but I'll say the things that have actually helped me that I believe will help you. And I want this to be as like conversational as possible. So if you have a question, you can like drop it in the chat or like unmute yourself and we can talk about it. And I won't talk for too much. I won't talk too much. I won't talk for too long. I'll just say a few things and we can ask questions or something. So yes, how to stand out without experience. So I believe Damilo said like majority of things that I actually wanted to say. So I'll just around out here. So I was born in Lagos. Ibadan. So I went to like that's where I went to. Then before being a state level, I went to like
Hi, Michael. We are finding it hard to hear you. I don't know if I'm the only one, but you're a bit low. I think you're muted because I can't hear you at all now.
let me know if this is better.
Oh, yes, it's better now. Thank you.
Oh, it's very much better. I apologize. Okay, there we go. I'll just minimize it here. Okay, so I'll just start all over again. So I said that I was going to like, give a little background about me, let you know all the things that I've done and before now, just so we can like, have something to like kind of resonate with. So I very much grew up in Nigeria. I went to OBS for secondary school. I did go to the A levels. And after the A levels, I worked with them for a year before I moved here. So I worked as a teaching assistant. Then from there, I moved here. Then after my first year, I interned with Brown and Brown. I interned with NASCAR. Then I'm returning as a senior intern with Brown and Brown again. Then I'll be interning with McKinsey next year. So I'll just give you a little brief of like how that actually came up to be, and how we are actually here right now through this whole presentation. So that's just like a brief summary of like what I've been doing. And I'll very much say that I didn't exactly think that I'll go through this path because I was very much thinking to go to Unilag, but eventually I didn't go to Unilag. I came over to Bethune Cookman University. So I'll let you know like all the little things that I have actually, put into my personal self and how those things can actually help you going through this whole presentation. So just hang on and stay with me. So I'll move on to the next slide on here. I'm trying to see how I can work this thing. Yes. So I want to go through like the biggest myth that you must have heard about experience. So many things you see is that, oh, people are actually wanting experience. But right now, with the way the world is evolving, with the way the world is changing, employers have actually shifted their needs in terms of like recruitment to so many things. Like recruitment has evolved over years, and I'll let you know that it's evolved in the side. The tides are shifting towards like the side of younger generation because employers are no longer looking for like years of experience because you could have years of experience with limited skills. Just imagine someone like working Excel for like you know 20 years, you just know Excel. You don't know any other thing about like something that's evolving. So recruiters' needs have like, shifted to actually employing people who are actually very coachable, who can actually adapt to things like as quickly as possible because the more they can coach you, the more you can adapt to things, the more you can actually adapt to the way the world is changing with the way technology is like being involved in so many things that are being involved, like with ensuring the success of like the firm, ensuring the success of a company. So I want to tell you that the biggest myth that you hear about experience is that you need experience to get opportunities. You actually do not. All you just need to show is that you're willing to learn and you're bendable. Like I put on the slides, recruiters actually look for initiative, leadership, curiosity, communication, and consistency. Like you need to be able to like hit all those things, and those are the things that I actually test for in recruitment and when they want to hire you. Because personally, I've also like, sat in the seat as a recruiter to like actually kind of say like, who do I want to recommend? Because I've actually also got into the position that I actually recommend people for some sort of opportunities. So those are actually the things that I personally look into in terms of like seeing if I can use whatever I have to actually recommend someone because that's what the recruiters are actually going to look for eventually. So I just go through like interviewing and see like, okay, this is what you have, this is what you have, this is what you have, and I tell you that these are the things that I personally look into, and I'll say 9 out of 10 times, like those that I've recommended, I've actually gotten the positions that I've actually recommended them for. So I'll just move on to like the ways that I've built my experience. And I've actually divided this into like two blocks. So I call it 5 ways I built my experience, but I we just break that down into two main blocks. And one of the first blocks is like academics and leadership, and the other side is competition and projects. Yeah, academics, I mean, this is where so many people actually lose it and be like, okay, yes, I need to get all A's, I need to get all that. Well, all that is very sweet, while all that is very attractive to see, you also need other things to actually complement it. It's just like eating food without having like water to drink. Of course, you're going to get stuck. You can't just be eating food. I mean, I love yam, even though I've not had yam in like so many years right now. But if you keep eating yam without drinking water, you're definitely going to choke. And that's the same thing with like, you putting academics first when you're trying to look for opportunities in the industry and you're not combining it with anything. So what I would say is that you should just listen to this with a very open mind. And I believe like you should get something from it. So the first thing that I was saying one of the blocks that I actually divided this into is academics. Yeah, you should actually seek to have like highest, the highest possible GPA that you can actually have that is dispensable to you. And I'll explain how you can have this because personally, I have a 4.0 GPA and I am a senior in college right now. Like I just became a senior in college right now. And I didn't just like get a 4.0 by just like, reading and doing all that stuff. It's just about strategizing and well positioning myself to actually get A's in certain classes and see how I can actually work around getting A's in some other classes that I feel like I alone cannot just get an A. So it's just about being strategic. So I would say you can use everything in your power to get that GPA you want to get. But GPA is not where it ends. GPA is just what gets you in the door in terms of like interviews, in terms of like having opportunities to speak to people. GPA is exactly what makes them want to hear you first. But after they see your GPA, they want to see what's more. And the remaining of the ways that I will be talking about will be explaining the more things that they want to see. So leadership, of course, I during the whole introduction, they've said the leadership positions that I have actually held. But I would say that I didn't just start from being a president of the ASA, being a president of NABA. I didn't just start from that point. I started by joining all these organizations and taking initiatives, seeing how we can actually make things better, seeing how we can push things, see how we can make better fundraising and doing all that things to make people trust me to want to lead them. And I feel like those are like little steps that lead you up to those leaderships. And those leadership experiences are those things that recruiters want to see because they don't want a team of just followers. They want a team of people who can actually take initiative, kind of like say, I can do this, let me stand up and do this, and push things forward. And those are things they want to see with leadership experiences. Now, on the other side with competitions and projects, yes, you don't have experience. Yes, you do not have any experience. It's fine. It's entirely fine. But what are those things that you're doing on the line? I know most people have gone to competitions and feel like, okay, it's nothing to add on the resume. Put it on your resume. They want to see it. Recruiters want to see it. Recruiters want to see how you like respond in a competitive environment. Have you had to go head to it with someone? Have you had to do competitions? They want to see that. And I feel experience personally by that way. Then projects, yes, doing different projects, creating impact everywhere. That's how I've personally built my own resume. But you can also do it yourself. No one has to tell you to do a project. No project has to be initiated by someone else before you actually take on a project. You can actually do a project by your own self. Do a research. Try to see how you can actually solve a problem and make a project out of that. And when you're recruiting for something, you can leverage that to talk about it. And again, I'll say this, I've always been saying it to like people when I do talks like this and kind of like get to talk to people who want to hear anything from me. I kind of like say that you do not have to be humble when it comes to like building your resume. In fact, that is not the time to even be humble. That's the time for you to be proud of whatever you've done. But there's a thin line between being proud and being arrogant. You don't want to be arrogant, but you want to be proud of whatever you've done. And you want to like leverage whatever you've done to the maximum level possible. If you have a project that you think is lifeless and it's not something like as important as you think it is, you should make it sound like it's the best thing you've ever done in your entire life. No matter what the smallest thing you've done before is, you should make it sound like it's the best thing that you've done since you've reached this earth. And that's all I'm going to say. Then internships. Yes, I believe that's the part of the experiences that we're talking about. But if you leverage the first four things that I've talked about, you use it to get an internship. And an internship is also another thing that you can use to leverage to get a full-time employment opportunity wherever you're going to. And why did I add an internship to this list? Because I feel like some people are like, oh yes, I'm actually looking to build experience to get an internship, but it goes beyond an internship. It goes beyond whatever you're doing like for a short period of time. You want them to actually recruit you full time. So I'll say that internship also plays a big part of it because an internship is a walk is a walk-in interview every day. Like they're watching you, they're trying to see, okay, what skills are you bringing to the table? What are you learning? How are you learning what you're learning? Is this person actually worth bringing back to the team? And I feel like that's why I added this onto like, the part of the experience that you can actually build to leverage wherever you want to be in the future. So I would say I've been fortunate to have like all those experiences. And yeah, I want to talk about the internship journey that I've had. So me moving from Brown and Brown to NASCAR to incoming as at McKinsey. Um, I'm very grateful for like those opportunities because they've actually very much helped me like, expand my network, helped me like, build real skills because I've actually had industry experiences, talked to so many people, had so many mentorship programs in these different places. And it's been so amazing, like, being a part of a team of like very, very amazing, smart people even from like, Ivy League universities like, Harvard, Cornell, MIT, all those top universities. While I'm just from a very small university, but it's just all about me showing that I'm actually coachable in an environment that's actually filled with these type of people who actually have everything going on for them. So let's scratch that and let's talk about how my resume has evolved because everybody thinks like everything is like shiny on the surface right now, but I've actually had a very, excuse my language, but I've had a very shitty resume in terms of like starting off. So when I just like got into like university, I kind of like pulled like a resume all together and the resume wasn't quite the best. Like you can see it. Like, yeah, my resume has actually evolved over time. So on the left, on this side, is the first resume that I built. Everything in this world is wrong with that resume on the left. Like every single thing in this world is wrong with it. Like it's not even properly tailored. I just threw something together, but I kind of like did some self-reflecting and kind of like saw how I can actually make all the things that I've actually done and leverage it properly. Because when I came, I was having some sort of like, am I going to say imposter syndrome or trying to like feel a little less about myself in terms of like the experiences that I had, even though I had like good experiences, but I was trying to like, maybe downplay myself. But I'll tell you that I didn't have any extra experience. And I turned the resume on the left to what is on the right. I kind of put all my experiences that I had coming from Nigeria because it was like literally fresh off the boat when I was like coming here. I put everything on the resume, try to leverage every single thing, put everything there, and see how I could use that to get me what I actually wanted. Now, I'll tell you that the resume on the right is actually what I used to get an internship with Brown and Brown in my first year of college. And I'll tell you one little backstory about me getting like that internship. So I applied everywhere. They were not accepting freshmen. They were not accepting like first year students. And I was like, okay, what do I actually like? What do I do? Like, how do I leverage what I need to do? Like, everyone is just saying that, oh yeah, we are actually taking sophomores, juniors. Like, some were even just strict and saying, okay, we're taking juniors and seniors. We're not taking freshmen. We're not taking sophomores. I'm like, okay, what do I do? Where do I, start from? So I'll talk more about what you can actually do, but I'll say it on the surface, like what I actually did to get the internship. So I went to a career event at Brown and Brown. They had open house, and how did I know about the whole open house? I kind of like connected with different resources off of LinkedIn, off of like everywhere, and I applied to actually see personally like what the experience was like and talk to like people working in the firm. So I going there, I connected with people. I was not even shy to talk to people. I handed my resume to people. And that is another thing that I would say that whenever you're going to networking events, whenever you're going to like any events that you have to connect with people who have the potentials to help you should have your resume like at hand. Like you should be able to like hand off the resume to people, like, don't be afraid to talk to like people to kind of like tell them who you are, introduce yourself, like the eye contact should be there, like show your confidence and show that you actually bring a lot to the table. Hand off your resume and, build up that connection. And that's exactly what I did and leveraged that to get my first internship. And I did the first internship with Brown. Brown was amazing. I got a return offer. That's where I am, like, again this summer. And before that, I did NASCAR with this same resume. So I got like two opportunities just with me turning the resume on the left to what's on the right. So I got to intern at Brown Brown, got to intern with NASCAR. Then I finished with my internship at Brown Brown and figured out that this resume would no longer cut it for me. So I scrapped that because my needs were changing. So my resume actually shifted from what it was here to what we have now. So the resume on the left is what I used to apply to McKinsey. And I'm not gatekeeping the resumes that I have. You can probably take a screenshot if you want it. If it's not clear enough, you can maybe DM me and I'll share it with you. You can edit it, you can do whatever you want to do with it. You can see how positions have shifted from like what it used to be when I was still in my first year of college to what it is like my second year of college when I applied to McKinsey. And it's shifted. It had to like some things had to go. I didn't have a professional summary anymore because the space that is taken, I needed other things to actually fill that place. So I needed to put my experience, the new experiences that I've had. Now you can see if you like paid a close attention to like my resume, it shifted. Like the first resume that I refined had stuff like from Nigeria that didn't really feel like it was tending to the current needs that I was actually looking for in the job market. So I had to let those things go. And I also like, had different like things that I've already done, like going to like experiences with top firms like Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, PwC, EY, Wells Fargo, Bank of America. Like I had those opportunities, like I had those like things that I already did. So I wanted space to like add them all to my resume. So I just had to like let some of the things go. So I did let some of the things go. Of course, they went. So the resume on the left is what I used to apply to McKinsey. And even after applying, I had to do some reflections because some things also changed. So I changed my resume to what it is right now on the right. So my current resume is on the right, showing, my education, my experience, the projects that I've done, the leadership positions that I'm currently like taking, the ones I've done before, all the programs that I've done before, my honors, like, having the highest GPA, being in like honor society, the scholarships that I've won, all the honors roll that I've been on, and my skills. Now you can see that as everything has changed, like I'm talking less about my skills right now because, like I said earlier, firms don't really necessarily want to see your skills first because anyone can have a skill, but they want to see like if you're coachable, what you've done, how you've learned from those experiences. And those are the exact things that I put under the description from like the experiences. So you might be saying you don't have the experiences, but you just need to start somewhere and let those things evolve. Let those things you've done, let those things that you've done that you think are very small, put them in your resume and let those things evolve. Because if you don't start, like nothing is going to start you up. So you have to be the one to start yourself up. So yeah, moving on to the next slide. Yes, I'll say create opportunities before they exist. It's exactly what I was just about saying. Like, you don't like if you don't start, nothing is going to start you. Like in the world we are right now, unless you're like a nepo baby, even nepo babies, like things happen. Like even in my description, like this is something that so many people don't know. I lost my dad like 4 years ago, and usually people think like, oh, like I'm like living off my father's shadow, like, I'm like a Nepo kid, or like kind of like, I could afford to like come here and stuff like that. But what people don't know is that majority of the things that I am doing right now, And majority of the things that I've done before, I actually did those things myself without even like, having to like bank on my parents that much. Even though they're like very, very supportive like throughout the process, but you have to create those opportunities. And I'll tell you like this little story about how I even moved here by myself. I moved here like alone. Like I moved here based on my own personal decision. It was not the decision of my parents. I just decided that I actually maybe wanted a different environment for me to actually learn better and like kind of like, create opportunities for myself the best way independently. So I independently like kind of like applied to schools here, independently like, pushed myself through like all the requirements and whatever it took to like kind of like get where I am today. And I made those opportunities. So that's the same thing that I'm going to turn to you and say, create opportunities even before they exist. So you start by asking yourself the question, what can I solve? How can I help? And usually we think about what we can receive more than we think about what we can give. And I always say this like, if you actually want to make a huge impact, if you want to like be the best you can be, the first thing you can ask yourself is that how can I actually solve a problem and what solutions can I put in place? If you look at all the billionaires, like they literally are eating off a problem solving skill that they had when they were young. So one thing that I would say is create opportunities before they exist. Ask yourself what problems can you solve, who can you help, and how can you make an impact in the society. And I'll share with you what I call the Michael's formula. So I actually do have a formula that I actually think will help. And I actually came up with this formula like my first year of college. And I just thought about it like when I was building the slides to kind of like, add it onto there. So the equation that I came up with is that consistency plus visibility and plus initiative like leads to opportunities. Like opportunities won't just come knocking on your door. There's some things that you actually have to do to trigger those things to actually lead to you getting those, opportunities. So like I put on there, many opportunities just, come like simply from like asking and being visible and kind of like putting yourself out there. So I broke down like those elements that I added up to actually give me opportunities into like simple terms. So for consistency, you showing up every single day even when no one is watching. So I would give you my experience with Brown Brown when I first interned with them. Yes, I was a novice that time because Brown Rock took a bet on me because they were not recruiting freshmen then. They were recruiting juniors and seniors, people who were like almost done with university. But they took a bet on me because they actually saw what I was doing to get like the opportunity, like how audacious I was in terms of like, talking to people working. So when I did my first internship, I'll come to the office every single morning early. Like I was one of the first interns, so I was get to the office, do everything I have to do, knock out like all the functions, like all the tasks, all the work that I had to do, then go to my lead and tell them that I'm done and go to other leads and other departments to actually ask to shadow them. And I was very consistent with all this, even when no one's actually watching, even though people were actually watching me. And that actually helped like me return. So I'll say consistency, even when you think no one is watching you, but I bet everyone is watching you, helps you get to where you are. But then let's add on visibility on there. Like you can say like, oh, maybe you don't want to like be arrogant, maybe you don't want to like, kind of like be shy about like if you're shy about something and you're trying to say you don't want to be proud on the internet. But I would say visibility is one thing that you can add on to help you create opportunity. And I would say LinkedIn has been one of the best things that I've actually like leveraged in terms of like my my early career like goals. It has helped me in so many ways, like in terms of like, having coffee chats, talking to people, seeing like what is there, like how to even like, get opportunities, how to leverage things that I've not even heard before, how to kind of like hear more about those things and how to like, put myself out there. And I would say letting people know your goals before you achieve them actually helps you a lot because people see someone who is actually having a foresight and someone that can actually believe it. And that would actually help you in so many ways that even you can even imagine. And to add on to like visibility, every little achievement that you think you have, put it on LinkedIn, let people engage with it. Recruiters are watching. They'll reach out to you. I mean, I've had different instances in which recruiters have actually reached out to me. I've taken opportunities from that. Like, for instance, when I had like an opportunity to like, do a program at EY, I got reached out to. Opportunity to like do a program with Morgan Stanley, I got reached out to by a recruiter. Opportunity to do something with PwC, I got reached out to a recruiter off of LinkedIn. And that is just purely by me just posting the small wins that I thought I had then into like what has morphed into like big achievements that so many people are like, oh, that's such a great achievement, even though I don't necessarily see it as such a great achievement, but it's been better than how I started. And I'll tell you that visibility is actually what led to that. Then the third thing is initiative. You ask before you're actually invited. It's not you being jumpy. I mean, there's a thin line between you taking the initiative and you overstepping your boundaries. You don't want to overstep your boundaries, but you want to show that, okay, you can actually lead something. You actually have a reasoning of your own. You actually have a critical sense that you can actually think on your own and navigate things by your own self. And even before you ask before you invite it and raise your hand first. Like early on, like when we joined this whole thing, like that should have been the minimal attribute that everyone could have had. Like in terms of like, introducing yourself, like I should have seen like all hands on here because you all joined this call for a reason and you joined this call to actually, learn more and kind of like build your skills, build your experiences in terms of some way and kind of like build your value out of yourself. And I feel like that could have been very engaging. So at that point, that should have been like the first skill that everybody should have shown. Like raise your hands up, like kind of like try to like make something memorable about yourself. You don't know who's on the call. You don't know who has like some sort of like information that would actually help you and help like, better your skills and help you like make you amazing, literally. You don't know if the person's on the call and you don't know if the person's like actually going to be impressed by you. So usually whenever you're going to like join things, you should actually push and show initiative and say, okay, I'll do this first. I actually want something to be memorable about me. And I feel like that's what initiative like shows. So I'll be coming up to like wrap up this whole presentation by challenging you to actually do something this week. So we've talked about, how you can like, leverage so many things to actually get you to where you want to be. But we can talk about strategy, but strategy without implementation is just dead on arrival. It's just a top over water. It's going to wash away. So you have to do something. So I'm challenging you to choose one action this week. Build a project this week. Like you can do a financial project this week. It's so easy to like, discount a cash flow, do an investment appraisal, try to see an intrinsic value and extrinsic value out of something, put everything all together, run the financial model. It's very interesting. You enjoy it. Or do something like reach out to a professional LinkedIn, raise your hand for an opportunity, ask questions because when you ask questions, it leads to other things. And that curiosity and you asking real questions actually leads to whoever you're asking those questions to be more interested and see how they can actually help you. And I give you an instance of me personally helping a few people. So I said I interned with NASCAR. And me interning with NASCAR, actually, I led the team. I led the whole cohort because there were 11 of us, and I led the whole team. And after the whole internship was done and the whole program was done, I had a few people like, ask me questions about like the whole program. And they were asking like very interesting questions. I was like, okay, you know what? You're asking enough questions for me to actually introduce you to who is in charge of this recruitment and put a word in for you. And I tell you that I did that for that person, and that person is going to be interning in NASCAR. And I'll say that asking questions really does that. You don't know who you're asking these important questions to, and you don't know whose contact they have. So I would say like the challenge that I have for you this week, connect with people on LinkedIn, connect with professionals on LinkedIn, ask to coffee chat. And I mean, they'll answer you. Some might not answer you, but personally, I try my best to answer people because I know how it feels to kind of like reach out to people and then like not answering you. Because my first year in college, I reached out to so many people. Like there was nothing as much humiliating as like, you trying to like, ask people to like, give you a coffee chat and like, you try to ask questions. Like there's times shame where me you ramble babble and pass those times. But I would say like if you don't do those things, like they're like they're like things that you have to do along the way that will help. So that's one thing I would say. So my final or ending statement will be that you do not need an experience to get started. You need to start to gain experience. So many people say that you actually need experience to help yourself or do something, but you actually do not need experience to start because once you start, that's your experience. So that birth the statement that you do not need to get started. You need to start to gain experience. So just start today, take that leap of faith, start today. It counts as experience and it's going to get better. I'm going to tell you this that no matter how little that experience is, even though if it might be unpaid, you eventually evolve to the position where you get so many paid experiences that unpaid ones just look like babies to you. So the thing I'll say is just start. Don't chase the money first. Chase what you can do to make a change. So if I can do it, you can do it. So that's the end of my presentation. So if you have any questions, we can connect. Let's keep the conversation going. You can scan the QR code, connect with me on LinkedIn if you want to. If you have any questions like beyond this whole call, you can, hit me up on LinkedIn and let's talk. But I'm open for questions now. You can ask questions. Yeah, we can do questions.
Thank you very much, Michael, for your wonderful speech. It was really nice hearing you talk because I could really relate to some of the things that you were speaking about, and I could even connect majority of the things that you said back to what Damilola said about creating opportunities even before they exist, starting because it's when you start that you gain all of this experience. Thank you very much. Really, it was really nice having to have you on this section with us. So now we'll be going to the Q&A section, and as Michael has said, is open to question, and I'm sure Daminola too is open to questions also. So if you have any question now, you just need to use the raise hand feature, and I'll call out to you. Then you'll mute your mic, and then go ahead with your question. So please raise your hand so we can dive into the Q&A. Thank you. Or we don't have any questions because I know a lot has been said now. All right. Okay. Somtochuku, your hands are raised, so you can unmute your mic now. Hi, Somtochuku. I saw your hand raised. You can unmute your mic now and speak. Hello, can you hear me?
Please confirm if you can hear me. Good evening.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Oh, yes, I can hear you now.
Hi.
You're online. Your voice is breaking. I don't know, probably it's your network. Probably you can just mute for now, and later on in the Q&A section, you can go ahead with your question. Who else hand is raised? I can barely hear you, Somtochuku, if you're speaking. Faith, your hands are raised. You can unmute your mic and speak.
I mean, you can also put like a question or like on the chat if you want to, if that works.
Yeah, That works too. You can put your question in the chat box and I'll just read it out for any one of the speakers to answer. So if you're having network issues, you can always put your question in the chat box. Thank you very much. Faith, I see your hands raised. You can, if your network is good, you can unmute and speak.
Hey, good evening. My question is, you mentioned something like, I think the first, I don't know, but you mentioned something like coming out of a shell to like network with people on LinkedIn. So now my question is, how do you enter people's chat, like enter people's DMs, like, oh, I want to like, I don't know. How do you do that? That's my question.
Okay, you want to answer? Okay, I think that's funny. Yeah, I mean, you just have to take that leap of faith and don't take it personal. Like, literally, don't take it personal. So, you just start by introducing yourself and see, like, find a common ground. Like, you don't just reach out to someone, pick up your phone and be like, okay, who is this on LinkedIn that I can reach out to? You don't just pick your phone up and reach out to people like that. You need to find, like, something like a common ground to kind of like, use that as like an icebreaker because I want someone who has something like a little personal attachments to me. I want to reply that person than someone who's just, asking off the surface. So usually I just start off like with like an icebreaker and try to see like what I've been doing and what I want to learn. Like I don't just start from me like I don't just like start from me wanting something from them. I start from me coming from like the student's perspective and the learner's perspective and try to ask like how can I learn something from you and what ways can you help me? So I just go into LinkedIn and like just oh my God. Have I been saying something without like did you like hear me?
Oh
Like
yeah, we heard you to a certain point and it was muted for I think
I
about
don't
10
even know
seconds.
why I went mute because I was not clicking anything, I promise. Okay, so what I said is that I find a common ground first. I kind of like send a message from a learner's perspective to kind of like see how I can learn from them first to now see how they can help me get what I want. Like for instance, you want a job from someone, you don't just start from the point of like, yeah, give me a job. I'm here. Like, who are you? Like, I need to know you personally first, and I need to see if I have like if I can believe in you to give you my time to kind of like talk about the opportunities I can actually get from me, then see how I can help you get those opportunities. So that's all I would say. Like, that's how you can like reach out to people. So it can go. Build. I hope I answered the question.
Yes, it did. Thank you.
Of course. Um, I mean, if you have another question, like you can.
All right, I think Blessing hands are raised too. So Blessing Adekoya, you can unmute your mic and ask your question. Blessing, are you here with us?
Yeah, I'm here. Can anyone hear me?
Oh yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so thank you so much for the session. So my question is like it's more about your internship experiences, how you got your internships, and how even this current offer you got. Yeah, so I want to ask that I'm very sure there were like pools of candidates, like top candidates, who had the same experiences, the same probably competitions, achievements and all that were like high level. So what was one thing that you felt that made you stand out the most and got you selected? What was one thing that made you stand out the most and got you selected? Yeah, that's my question.
That's a very interesting question. Yes, first I'll say I'm a salesman. When it comes to like, me trying to like talk about things that I've done, I don't downplay like what I've done. And even like me doing the whole presentation, I was trying to like kind of tone it down to like not sound like I'm in like an interview and making it all about me. The first thing that I would say is like you being your personal salesman. Like no one is going to sell you if you don't sell yourself. So I would say that's the first thing that I would say like has really helped me. And I would say this, I don't go to like the best school here. Like I go to like one of the like smallest school ever. Like I bet like none of you have ever heard of my school like before now. None of you have ever heard of it. So, having to come from like a school like that to like compete for the same position with people from like Harvard, MIT, Stanford, Yale, John Hopkins, Cornell, all those top universities, because those were actually the people that I actually was competing with for like the McKinsey position. I would say like what definitely stood me out because when I was flown to like the Atlanta office and I did my final interview like with the partners and I got the offer that same day, I asked one of the partners who actually interviewed me and asked him like, why did you like kind of like select me? I'm like just curious. I'm not doubting my abilities, but I'm just curious, like what sealed the deal for you? It was like apart from like, me like doing the casing very well, like me doing the problem solving part of like the interview very well, like the personal experience side of it, I did my homework. I actually sold myself. And that's the same thing that I would say that's actually helped me like with my Brown internship, with my NASCAR internship, but how I got into like, Morgan Stanley for like a competition. How I handle those things is that all the things that I've done, I don't make it sound small. I make it sound like it's the best thing in the world. And I think you should do the same. With everything you've done, don't sell yourself short. Sell yourself the best. So that's how I answer that. I hope I answered that question though. Of
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
course.
Okay, I think the next person hand that I see here is Samuel Ogunmokun. So Samuel, you can go ahead and unmute your mic and ask your question.
So good evening,
Samuel, are
everyone.
you here?
Yes, I'm here. Can anyone hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
So good evening, everyone. Good evening, Mr. Michael Mola.
You can just
So
call me Michael.
I just have two questions. Basically, you were talking about actually like you don't have to wait to embark on a project, or you don't have to wait to work on a project. You can do a project by yourself. So I want to ask that what project do you think would make recruiters take like a candidate that wants to go into business analysis very, very serious? Like, what project can someone do to make recruiters see you as a very serious candidate? Or what you can put on your CV that make them know, okay, this is a very serious candidate. Or what you can put on LinkedIn for visibility and stuff like that. And also, I want to ask that, what skills do you expect, like, someone that is looking to, like an aspiring business analyst, what skills do you think they are very, very core for them to acquire first, basically? So those are the two questions I have for you, sir.
Okay, so I just want to clarify something on that side. So you're talking about business analysts like in the consulting space. Is that for
Yes,
you?
yes, in a consulting space.
Okay, I'll give you the first hand question, but I'll answer the first question that you had, like the projects and stuff like that. So there are different projects that you can do. Personally, because I'm an accounting and finance major, I double major in finance and accounting. I personally like and choose to like do finance projects. So usually I don't just like, wait around to see if there's any projects around to do in classes. The first projects that I actually did was actually self-led, and I actually did equity valuation for like Apple and kind of like try to estimate what the valuation of Apple will be in the next year. And I did that last year. That was like spring of 2025. And I just actually ran some models. I discounted cash flows. And these are things that I've actually learned like when I was still in Nigeria when I did A levels, like how to actually discount the cash flow, how to like, use the internal rate of return, how to use uh, net present value, how to actually discount a cash flow to actually show the real present growth of that thing and put a percentage on it. So these are the things that I actually did in the spring that actually kind of like, help put something on it. And um before that, I'll say that I also kind of turned something around because I actually saw something in my church when I was still like in Nigeria, and I actually helped out with it. And I turned that around and I turned it into a project on my resume, and that kind of helped. Now, to answer your second question, the skills that you have to have when you want to enter the consulting space, like be a business analyst, I would say it's just a very soft skill. You don't necessarily need a technical skill because I'll be very honest with you, they're going to teach you the job. Like, they're going to teach you the job. Even if you have a skill, they're going to teach you the job eventually. So what I would say you need to have is just critical thinking and problem solving skills. And how do you build those skills? You build those skills over the years by you taking initiative, seeing how you can actually better do things. I can see things from different perspective. I can think outside the box. And I think that's just a skill that they need. Like, to be very honest, that's the skill that, like, once my resume got past like to like the first round, I did my first round of interviews like back to back. I did 2 hours straight of interviews, like with McKinsey, like for my first round. No one's really talking about my skills. Like, we didn't talk about my skills for 1 second. Like, we just talked about like the personal experiences that I've had and like, what I've used those experiences to do. I told a story. I told two back-to-back stories, and I did two cases back to back. And the skill they were just looking for was how best can this candidate like troubleshoot and like solve problems. And I'll say that's just the only thing. Even when I did the interview in person for the second round, that's the same thing that they were looking for. No one's really talking about, okay, do you know how to work Excel? Do you know how to do Power BI? Do you know how to do AI? Do you know how to generate? Like, no one's really talking about that. Like, no one's really talking about that. So I'll say that and build critical thinking. And by I'm saying that, I'm not saying that you should not build any technical skills. You should build the technical skills because those are the things that will make your experiences easier and better when you get those experiences. Like for instance, I had like technical and advanced skills of like using Excel, and that actually made me work really fast when I first interned with Brown Brown last year. And the project that was meant to last me for 10 weeks I was done in 4 weeks because I knew I had that technical skills. So those technical skills will make life easier for you when you get those experiences. But is that what they're necessarily looking for? No, because they will eventually teach you the job. So I've answered the question.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Of course.
Thank you very much, Michael, for your answers. They have really been eating the core since you've been answering the questions. And also, I'd like to put this question to Damilola to hear a perspective on this. What skill do you think an undergraduate now that is open to probably go into either the management space, consulting space, or whatever space that is related to accounting or finance? What skill do you think we can start um, learning now so that we can be able to stand out either when we are looking for internship or when we go into the real world? Hi, Damila. Are you
Right.
still on the? Okay.
Hi. All right.
Oh yeah, I can hear
Okay, so
you.
yeah, all right. Okay, so as just as Michael said, I think first off, soft skills are very, very essential. And when we're talking about soft skills, let's talk about communication, let's talk about problem solving, let's talk about critical thinking. Your soft skills are very, very essential. Then when it comes to technical skills, um, I would just say you would have an edge or you would have it more easy if you know the exact tools you'll be working with when you get to the field you're looking at and you start training on those skills from now. For example, people who are looking into going into corporate finance and things like that, you would have to do maybe things around valuation, modeling. Those are things that you could start working out because it's like if you know that if I already know that this is one of the things I'll have to learn on the field, you can as well start building on it now. You can as well start developing Excel skills, presentation skills. I think one of the things that really stressed me was having to work on presentation for trainings and things like that during my internship. So I would just say, you know where you want to major in. We all have different fields we want to major in: investment banking and things like that. So start from where do you want to major in? What are the tools that you need on the job and start looking for how you can start building them right now before going into this space. That's what I'll say.
Oh, thank you very much, Dami. Your answer were really insightful, and honestly, it's true. Start building on the skill that you know are relevant for the career path that you are decided you we decide to major on later on. So I think we have another person hand raised. Oyinkonsola Oyelakin. So you can go ahead and unmute your mic. It's your question.
Right. Hi, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Ms. Damilola. Good evening, Mr. Michael. Thanks for the wonderful session. So my question goes thus, like the aspects, like when you're explaining about the proving of evidence. So in a situation whereby like a recent undergraduate, before we could be called into the room to come and prove the experience you've gained, and like as Ms. Damela talked earlier on, like we should prove as much as we can. So before we will be called into the room to come and prove our experiences, we are to only submit the CV, let's say a one-pager CV or any to get requited also. So I want you to just explain how we can go about it in order to be able to call into the room, and before like how to groom the CV for us to be called to the room, and how to like is it possible also to explain or to prove that skills in the CV. So that's more of clarity I want to get from that part. Thank you, sir. Sorry.
Oh, is the question for me or Dami? I think Dami might
Oh
be
yeah,
able
that
to.
means you can go into the question and direct some to Michael later on. It's answered quite a lot.
Oh, all right. Okay. So yes, I think you said something about explaining on your CV. So you really can't explain a lot on your CV. What you need to do when it comes to your CV is number one, what role are you applying for? Number two, what are the experiences that you can best use to prove that okay, I'm good for this role. So the role you're going for, the experiences that can be tailored to the requirements for that role. Most times when you see job applications out there, you see the description, the requirements, what are they looking for, what are the roles you have, or what are the experiences you have that you think would speak very much to what they are looking for. Then when it comes to drafting your CV, you really can't tell a lot of story in there. What would have to be there are the roles, the experience, and the key things, the major achievements that the major achievements in that specific role. That is what you can show on your CV. But sometimes a lot of companies do request for your cover letter, and in your cover letter, you can then, storytelling, sell yourself, express yourself, and talk more about how, these roles and your experiences fit into the description of what they are looking for in the type of person they want to employ. So for your CV, it has to be simple, it has to be not when I mean simple, brag, but you can't tell a lot of stories. So just highlight the major points there and make sure that it is well tailored to the job requirements. I don't know. I think that is the question you asked. Is there anything I'm missing? Just to
No,
make
ma,
sure.
thank you, ma.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you very much, Dami. And I'll be directing this question to Michael. So I think I'll just merge like two questions together to help us save time. So the question here says, when reaching out to professionals on LinkedIn, what are the best way to get a high response rate? And okay, it says another question here says, reaching out to people on LinkedIn. Sorry, 1 minute. It says reaching out to people on LinkedIn. How do you go about it, and code emailing as well? Any tips on that?
What I'll just
Do you
say
get
is
my
that,
question?
yeah, I did. What I'll just say is that don't take it personal when you're like reaching out to these people. They don't know you, you don't know them. Like, just be very intentional about like how you're gonna send it. Now, before sending it and try to take things personal, you have to structure your messages, your emails in a way that would actually show that you're actually someone who's worth placing a bet. I mean, no one can just send me a message. Sorry. No one can just send me a message on LinkedIn and be like, hey, can we talk? Like, hey, can we talk? Like, I don't know you. Like, you have to like introduce yourself to me and like let me know like a little bit about you. Then we can like move on from there. Like, then we see like what value you like bringing to the table, not you just kind of like clicking and saying like, oh, hey, let's connect. So the way you construct the message has one thing to do with it. And like I said, don't take it personal. Some of them might reply, some of them might not reply. Don't take it personal. Email as many people you want to email. Send a message to as many people you want to send a message to on LinkedIn, but you should also do some sort of evaluation before you send those messages and emails. So first, you want to see who is most likely to reply to me. For instance, putting the McKinsey structure into this explanation. I personally didn't reach out to anyone. I'll be very honest. I just winged it. But if you want to use like some sort of network and referrals, the best set of people to reach out to are the business analysts. They're the ones who have time. You can just reach out to a partner. No partner is going to, I mean, it depends. Like if you've interned with them, the partner is going to definitely reply you because you already met the partner, but you don't know them before, no one's going to reply you being a partner. But the people who have the higher chance of replying you are the business analysts, the associates, maybe engagement managers. But engagement managers are busy, but the best bet would be business analysts. So that's what I'll say. And the same thing with like cold emailing as well. Do it to as many people as you want to because it's just like you casting your net. So like when you cast your net, you definitely don't take all the fish in the water. You take some fish. Some fish swim away from your net. Some fish you don't even have the span to reach those fishes. So all I'll say is don't take it personal and reach out to as many people as you want to.
Oh, thank you very much, Michael. Another question here we have on the chat box says, it says, I've done a lot of virtual internship and applied for physical internships, but I usually get surprised that I have been shortlisted for it, but I'm very scared to go into the corporate world, that I don't know how to incorporate myself in the organization culture. Answer this question. Thank you.
Okay. So the question is for me, but I'm sort of confused just a little bit. Okay. Okay, there we go. So yes, with that one, I would say be very audacious. Like they want you. They already agreed that they want you, and that's why they employed you. So there's nothing for you not to like, losing yourself and trying to like learn more about like an organization. And again, any organization that you don't feel comfortable with, like you don't feel comfortable enough for you to incorporate yourself, I don't think that's the right organization for you. You might have to look for somewhere else. But beyond that, I would say like just have an open mind. Like it's something you've not experienced before. Open your mind to it. Don't go with a picture in your mind. Like don't have any expectation. Go with a very open mind and ease yourself into the experience and you enjoy every part of it. And I'll give you like the Brown and Brown experience as well. I mean, that was my first major in-office experience beyond me kind of like shadowing my dad because my dad used to work as a regional manager with Total Energies, like at the head office. But me personally working in the place, it was first with Brown and Brown. And I didn't even know how to act in the workspace. I didn't have any skills, like I didn't know anything about anything there. But one thing that just kept me going was me being open-minded, me being able to like kind of communicate with everyone, me not being shy, me just constantly showing up and showing out. So I'll say like that will help you ease the nerves and kind of like, ease into the system. So it's just there. That's it
Yeah,
in
I
a
see.
nutshell. So I hope I answered the question there.
So yes, I think you also spoke about projects. So I'll direct this question to you also. It says here that please can you talk about the
Right.
project project you did, and did you just pick a topic and just do a research on it?
Okay. So, I mean, I'll talk about the projects that I've done. Then I'll just give a little insight into like what I'm currently
Yes,
doing
well,
right now. So, during a project, like you just do what you've learned in class and how you can like better leverage those things and kind of like spin out or
lady,
spin
what
it
are you?
around and make it your own thing, your own personal thing. Because if you don't have a personal touch to something, then it's not your project. So you have to use your own initiative and see all the things you've learned and go on the internet and see like how you can better use those things. And I'll say it again. I think I said it earlier on how I came up with my uh my finance project from what I've learned before. I just literally just use that to kind of create a project out of that. Now, with what I'm currently doing right now, I'm currently like shifted from like kind of like doing on surface project to kind of like doing publications right now that actually does like go deeper than you just doing surface level projects and stuff like that. It goes deep to the point where you kind of like, have to sign off on it, publish it online, have people cite your work and do all those things. So, and kind of like choosing topics for those things are those things that actually interest me and those things that I actually have career aspirations in. So I'll say if it's not relating to what you're doing, don't do it, but just do a project that kind of like relates to what you can do and the project that will make you shine the best. So that's all I'm going to say on that side.
Uh, Thank you very much, Michael. I just think that most questions are being directed to you here on the group chat. And he's saying here that thank you for sharing your experience, Michael. Listening to you, everything you've achieved is really inspiring. But I keep wondering, were there times where you just felt tired, overwhelmed, or didn't feel like doing any of these things? If yes, what kept you going and what helped you get back on track when you lost motivation?
Oh, I think today is one of those days, but I've actually learned to like kind of like manage me being like kind of down and me kind of like, feeling overwhelmed and feeling like all in my emotions because so many things actually tag along to be emotions. I mean, today's Father's Day. I lost my dad like 4 years ago. Of course, I'll be in my emotions, but I don't let that get the best of me because I look at the bright side of things. I'm a big optimist. So whenever I'm like kind of like getting overwhelmed, I kind of like take a moment of reflection and kind of like see what are the things that I've done. I turn, I mean, I'll say my age anyways, but I turned 21 on Wednesday. So many people over 20 have not done like half of what I've done, but I actually take pride in that. I'm not even kind of like being arrogant about it, but I actually take pride in like how I have done that. So whenever I'm feeling down, I feel like, okay, I've already overcome, like, I already like passed through some certain things that people like usually do not go through and come out as a whole. Like, I kind of like use that as a motivation to actually go further, to do more, because I feel like the world is not waiting for you, even if you're all in your emotions or not, you're all down. So all you just have to do is reflect. It's okay to actually feel down. Feel down, cry. Sometimes I cry about stuff like because when I don't get things right, like when the project is not going well, I just like crash out and just like, take my moment. I don't just crash out and leave it. I crash out and go back to it and do it with a more motivated mind. Because whenever you're feeling demotivated, it's a time for you to build up your motivation more than what it used to be. I'll give you an analogy. If you want to build a better house, you have to break it down first to build it up again. Like if you want to do make a if you want to like renovate the house, you break it down and build it up again. So what I would say is that whenever you're feeling demotivated, it's fine. Sync up like in that emotion and like kind of like build it up back up from there. So that's all I'll say on that side.
Thank you very much, Michael. Your answers are, to the core, right? So I think someone else hands are raised. Walter Williams, you can unmute your mic and speak and ask your question. Walter Williams, are you
Good
with
evening,
us?
everybody. Yes, can everybody hear me?
Yes, I can
Yes.
hear you.
Good evening. Please, can everyone hear me?
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much, Daminola. My question is directed to Michael. So my question is, you said that soft skills is more important and is creates more opportunity. So I want to ask, how well do we build these soft skills? That is, soft skills like critical thinking, problem solving, communications, and all that. Do we like invest in solving projects and all those things? But my question is, how well do we build these soft skills?
Okay. I'll say these are skills that you, what's the right word? What's the word that's going to succinctly describe what I am actually looking for? But these are skills that are like inherently a part of you, but you just need one thing or various things to actually harness those skills. So for instance, like everyone is talking. Of course, you have in it underneath a communication skill. But how do you make that skill better? You do it better by talking, you do it better by, knowing how to actively engage in conversations, knowing how to write the appropriate email to who, and try to understand your audience before you start talking to people. And that's the side of skills. Like when it comes to problem solving skills, you definitely know how to problem solve because in the morning when you wake up, like you go in the shower, you have a shower and you're solving the problem. Like you don't want to stink, you're solving that problem. So everybody inherently has a problem solving skill, but you just need other things to like kind of harness those things. And what are those other things? Like you constantly doing your assignments is ways that you're harnessing those things because you're seeing those things, your experiences, like in terms of like solving class problems as little as assignments. It's kind of adding to like, how you're thinking about things, how you're troubleshooting things. And also you taking on projects, you working together in groups with people, thinking together and seeing how you can actually achieve something. You're not just playing around with people, you're not just talking to people, you're coming together to think critically and like kind of problem solve. And you also doing competitions, case competitions, and all those things actually leads to you building your critical thinking skills. So I'll say soft skills are the easiest to build because you already have the traits and attributes to kind of like bring these things up. You just need a spark. Like you're like drenched in petrol. You just need that spark to ignite you. And that spark to ignite you is just you kind of like, blending those things to actually smoothing your skills. So that's all I'm going to say.
Oh,
Thank you very much.
thank you very much,
Of course.
Michael. Okay. Yeah, we'll be taking our last question for today before we wrap up the section. And this question here is on the chat. It says, my school does not allow for internship, but I really want to have an experience. What do you think I can do? And how can I get to see internship opportunity? Most times it's after it has ended, I get to see them. So what are your advice? We can go with Michael first and we'll take Damilola's response too. Thank you.
Okay. For this question, I personally think I don't necessarily resonate with that because I'm currently not schooling in Nigeria and I don't know any school here that does not allow for internships. Oh, wait, hold on. There might be some schools that allows for internship, but let me clarify that side of it. Are you here or you're in Nigeria? Oh, because that's a sensitive question too. Because all schools here accept like for students to go on internships, but when you're like an international student, you actually have some things tying your hands sometimes when it comes to like you, because you cannot just up and go and start working as a student, being on a student visa. But I'll speak in that perspective. So if you're in that situation where you're kind of like restricted in terms of like applying because of like your status in the country, I will say that there are other things you can do. There are programs that you do that won't actually require you having work authorizations. And you can do online externships. And this is something that I always tell to people, externships, do it. Some of them pay a lot of money. Like they pay as much as 1,000, like just you doing 8 weeks with them. They pay you 1,000 just by joining meetings once every week. That's a lot of money. And you can join that. You can gain experience from that. And do stuff like that. If you can't you can do internships in person if your school does not permit it. But then I'll also say if your school does not allow for internships, if you're not in a situation where you're having your hands tied down by employment authorization, you can also take Christmas breaks and kind of like see what experiences you can do and shadow people. So shadowing is an option, taking externship is an option, and doing all other things like joining this type of programs to like build your skills is also an option. So that's how you can actually build an experience. Internship is not where it starts and where it ends. Internship is just a part of like the journey. But I would say internship will get you to where you want to be the best. So that's just what I'm gonna say.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much, Michael. Daminola, we can just have you like say just one or two words on this, and we'll take two more questions before we end the section. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Kemi. So yes, Michael already said a lot of it. Actually, I can relate to this because I school in Nigeria and my school doesn't allow internship as well. But what I would say is utilize the breaks that you have. At least I believe your school don't have control over your holidays, your break, your summer, and days like that. So utilize those days as much as you can. Always work towards opportunities you can, lay your hands on during your summer holidays, which is kind of like my longest holidays. I'm saying mine because I don't know how your school curriculum is scattered in Nigeria, kind of. So yes, utilize the holidays you can use, and also try exploring online opportunities to remote work. Actually, try exploring remote work. Another thing is, for example, now when my summer holiday was short, it was like a 2 months holiday. So what I did was while I applied at Anderson, it was an hybrid role. So what I did was I made it clear to them that I would be able to, run an hybrid model for just 2 months with the firm. However, I would really love if they would allow me pass 1 month fully remotely. And they agreed. Sometimes the things we think are not possible or the things we think will make them eliminate us, we just literally have to ask. And it's possible. So yes, for me now during the summer, I worked 2 months hybrid and strictly 1 month remotely for Anderson. So yes, try getting opportunities you can utilize online. Try utilizing your summer breaks and just shoot your shot and ask. Literally, they literally might just give you the chance. So yes, that's what I'm saying. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much, Dami. Your answers has really been, good since the beginning of this section. Thank you very much. So one last question to you, Dami, is says when you got the internship with Anderson, what were the knowledge or skills you were expected to have, or what are the things that you did? What things did you do during the internship? Also, does Anderson have any structure for recruiting undergraduates?
Okay, so when I got into Anderson, I would not say there was anything they required as much, but there were tasks I had to work on that demanded certain skills. For example, I had to work a lot with Excel. I interned with account advisory. So we had to do a lot with Excel. We had to do a lot with presentation because there were always trainings and, much of these tasks were being handed over. So I would say Excel, presentation, and Microsoft Words. Those were like the basic skills that I was literally basic tools I was literally working with. Then currently they only have a structure for analysts, yes, for business analysts. They put out applications for business analysts, but for undergraduates internship, for example, I think it's strictly on recommendation. Like I mentioned earlier, I got recommended by someone I met on LinkedIn. So yes, if you can get someone in the department you would like to work with, build a relationship, network with them, have them put in a recommendation for you, I think the company would really consider things like that. Because I also met a lot of undergraduate interns that got in through recommendation. That's for Anderson. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much, Damilola, and also Michael. Being on this call with you guys has been mind blowing, eye opening. What's the word again? Thank you very much, really. I think we have one person hand raised now. Tinu Oluwa Ade Mokoya. You can unmute your mic now and ask your question. Tinu Oluwa, are you here with us?
Hello, thank you so much for the session. The question I would like to ask is on the email approach. As it is using email to communicate your interest for an internship opportunity. My question is, do companies actually get or see the email application sent like do they see the application sent to their email? I'd like to know if I should continue using that approach.
Is that a question for me or?
Oh yeah, you can go ahead with the question, Michael.
Okay. So, I mean, they do. So they always see like the emails. Like with companies, they're like policies like you can't go beyond 5 minutes whenever you see an email. Like you have to read all the emails and then reply to the important emails. So if you're reaching out to someone on their company email, they are seeing it. So if they're not replying you, they chose not to reply you. So what I would say is that if you're sending an email to someone, definitely do your due diligence in terms of like kind of like writing out the email and constructing the email properly. And when you do all of that, send the email out. And if they don't reply you, you know you've actually done the real deal diligence in terms of constructing that email. You move on to the next person that you can actually email in that particular position. And again, another thing that I would keep saying is that you do not email the boss first. That's one underlining rule in terms of like you getting a reply from like all those emails. You send an email to someone who's actually working on almost close to the level that you want to start working at. They are the ones who are actually eager to reply you because they don't have much on their hands. And they're the ones who tell you like, okay, here's who you can talk to, and here's who you can like, connect with, and here's who I can link you to talk to. So that's one thing I'll say about emails. I mean, cold emailing still works, but it's just how you construct it and who you're sending the emails to. So that's all I'm going to say.
Thank you very much, Michael. I'm sure Tinola got the right answer she was looking for. But personally, I have like a question that I would like to ask before we round up the section. And my question is, after gaining all of this experience in probably internship, different programs, and all of that, how do you actually communicate this in your CV? Because I happened to speak with someone earlier before, and she mentioned that you have to be able to communicate the things that you've done and be able to attach achievements to the little things that you've done to show that okay, your role probably during a program actually was seen, your impact was seen. So my question is, on your CV, how do you concisely communicate this experience that you have?
Okay, I'll share my screen. So I'll just say like you start by saying what you did and how you did what you did and the impact of what you did. So this is my current resume on the screen right now. I don't know if you can see it. I can like, make it bold. Like you can see like when I worked at NASCAR, I said, okay, this is what I was selected for doing. And this is what I did that led to like the impact of like, of catering to over 500 students and applying, my problem solving, like applying structured problem solving and, even having budget constraints and that. And this is like me describing what I did from my first Brown and Brown internship. This is what I did. This is the impact of what I did. This is what I did again. This is what I did again. Like you can actually see measurable impact. And I'm not saying you should put a number on everything, but you should try as much as possible to quantify, to show your measurable in a quantifiable way. to show your like to measure your success in a quantifiable way, if it makes sense. And this is what I'm currently doing right now with Brown and Brown with one of the divisions, the Arrowhead programs. And I'm showing like, okay, this is what I am doing, and this is the potential impacts that I could get from what I am doing. Then on top of it is just what I'm going to be doing in the future. Because I'm not currently doing it and I don't have the job description of what I'm going to be doing in the office, I just put it on there just to like show that I actually have something that's going to be occupying my space for next summer. So I believe you just like kind of show what you're doing and how you're doing what you're doing and the impact of what you're doing. And that's exactly how you're gonna like, kind of like stack up the description of the experience that you're having. Like that's how you kind of stack it. Like what you selected for, how you're doing it, and the impact of what you did. Just in simple terms.
Oh, thank you very much, Michael. Thank you very much. And I would like to appreciate the speakers once again because it's not an easy thing to come on this call and having to speak to like students. Thank you very much, honestly, for your time. 2 hours is not something so small to spare. Thank you very much, and we really appreciate you. And to close off this section, I would like to remind us once again to fill in the attendance if you've not, because this is a very important part of this program to be able to get your certificate. I remember that you'll be having an assessment next week where you have to submit before the deadline. So more information about that will be shared on the group chat later tonight. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining in today. We really appreciate and see you next week.